Sports represents life.
Big moments for big players.
I like to see how people react during adversity.
He doesn't care who gets the recognition, he just cares about the result. Third grade, my dad signed me up for just a ton of different sports camps.
We'll put him in the lacrosse camp. Dad, that was the most amazing thing I've ever done.
He was like, this is something special. Like, both my boys, they love it. Let's make it happen.
1, 2, 3, go! I caught wind that Brad was starting both boys and girls programs at Live Oak.
Our whole entire life has been lacrosse, lacrosse, lacrosse.
There's so many people that we've been with since day one.
It's crazy that it's just ending.
Being able to win a championship at the end of the year, that's what everybody plays for. You want to go to playoffs, you want to battle, you want to get through the first 3 rounds and then walk off in a blaze of glory. It'd be awesome for those seniors, man.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Adversity is actually the opportunity for you to really see what you're made of.
Very rarely do you get an opportunity to beat Goliath.
If we win a championship, like everything that we did previously is just canceled out.
Whether they win or lose, I love him and I'll be there for him.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the Live Oak sports community, we'd be in real bad shape.
I want to do this for my coaches, my team, my brothers.
Acorns on me, acorns on 3. 1, 2, 3, acorns!
Brothers that we have right here, right now, this is who we're going to fight for. This is who we battle with.
It's cool to see a future.
Let's go!
The program has a life now.
You have to believe in that. Do you guys believe in that?
Let's go!
You believe in that?
Welcome back. My name is Jake McDonald. I am Anything Lacrosse, and this is the Game That Never Sits Still. We have an exciting episode today. Another big-time guest, an executive producer from the Mighty Oaks, a documentary about a high school team from California. You get to follow them through the season of lacrosse, as well as watch them kind of develop, because he is actually the one that basically started the whole program in California. So very interesting there. We also are going to touch on who has the best goalie in the league. I'm going to rank them all through 1 through 14 for each team, basically. And there's going to be a lot of debate in this because their goaltending is so tight. There's a lot of good goalies here. And really, like I've been saying for a while, really 3 to 7 could be interchangeable. And it's really just depends on who you think is going to have a really good season. So again, we'll talk about that. Again, I've had a lot of debates about which goalies go where. So it's going to be interesting to see. Also, we're going to do a recap of the season. Now, I would like to go through the schedule, but I think before I do that, that's going to be more of a next podcast kind of thing. I think what we're going to do this time is just go through each team, and I'm going to tell you where the top scorers are, who there were. I've got all the stats. I'm a big numbers guy, so I like to know the stats. And so we're going to go run through all the teams and just kind of talk about them and who their top scorers were, just to give us a recap. Teams are going to kind of look like this season, or what players we should be watching out for. Very exciting episode, lots to get through. So let's get right into it. So first thing I like to talk about is, first off, obviously I ordered some merch for myself. I'm not selling it yet, but I have had a couple people reach out to me about it. So I'm probably going to get a sale together or something. I'm going to try to keep the prices as low as we can. I'm not trying to gouge anybody. wasn't even really thinking about overly selling yet. Thought maybe once I got bigger or something. I just got these for me. I love it. I wore it out for Halloween, my hoodie, and it was super warm. So it's good quality. That was my main thing. I wanted good quality, even if I had to spend a little bit more. So, I'll be putting something together this week. I was talking to the president of Kodiak Lacrosse in Moncton, New Brunswick, and he basically told me that the U13s, which is going to be my son's team this year, they need a jersey sponsor. So I said I would sponsor the jerseys. So I was thinking, it would be nice if I could use this money to do that. It's $2,000. So we'll see if I can get there, but good cause. And then we'll put Anything Lacrosse on back jerseys, and we'll try to get them all t-shirts or something too. So, we'll see what happens, but I've had a few people reach out. So I just wanted to address that. No pressure. I don't expect anybody to buy anything. Comment, like, share, follow the channels. That's all you have to do. I hope I get big enough where I can start, doing some contests and giving some stuff out. So anyway, with that being said, let's get right into this. So first off, what I would like to talk about is East Coast versus West Coast sports fans. This is something that was brought up on the Lax Class podcast this week. And, they're very they're obviously from the West Coast. They think that it's better to be a sports fan on the West Coast, and I have to disagree. I'm in the Maritimes. I was up till 4 a.m. watching the Jays, the other night, and I can tell you right now, I went to work the next day, no problem. Now I've got a job that starts a little bit later, but still, I don't mind staying up till late to watch the games. I will say in hockey, the West Coast games and lacrosse draw me out in a bit more, so I would have no problem staying up for them. So I can't wait till the season. I'll be watching as much lacrosse as possibly possible. One of his points is you get up, start the day at 10 a.m. in the morning, starting watching football, and you're done just after dinner, all that stuff. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But the thing is, I can get a whole day done almost before football even starts. So it's nice. I can get up. I can still go out with my kids. I can still do something with them. And then we sit down for football about 2 o'clock, watch some football, all that kind of stuff on a Sunday. So I disagree with that. It's the West Coast. It's the best place to be a fan. I think it's actually the East Coast, to be honest with you, because you have, like I said, you can kind of still get all your stuff done before you even start watching sports. I thought that was funny. He said he would debate anybody, so I thought I'd throw my little take out there. But you guys let me know what you think. I am kind of a night owl myself, so I don't mind staying up late. Take on that anyway, so no hard feelings. Honestly, it's just more for fun. I think it's a joke. I love the Lacrosse Classified podcast. I listen to it every week, and those guys are great guys over there. Don't get me wrong. I'm just busting their balls, and I think it's a little funny. So had to take that jab in there, and I'm excited to watch the Vancouver Roughnecks this year. Just kidding. Another jab. No, I'm just kidding. That's the only time I'll make that joke. Just busting balls out here. I love this community. I obviously don't know Jumbo, but I have messaged him and he's responded. Really seems like a good guy. I'm just chirping around, right? He's it's funny. Again, I love their podcast. No hate at all. Love those guys. And anytime you guys want to chop it up, you let me know. And you're more than welcome on here. All right, so let's get right into the regular season of lacrosse last season. So this is the 2024-2025 season. I'm just going to run through a bunch of stuff, okay? Like I just printed off a bunch of stats, and I'm a numbers guy myself. And I know I'm sure there's a lot of you out here, whoever's watching this or listening, that are also numbers people. That's how, in my opinion, numbers don't lie, right? Now, obviously there's the eye test. So that's a whole, if two guys are very similar and they don't put up the numbers like another guy, you could still argue that one's better than the other. I understand that, but numbers are a good kind of basis point to jump off of. So it's a good way to look at, where we're coming from. So let's start off with the rankings from last season, okay? So Buffalo Bandits were 13-5, Saskatchewan Rush were 13-5, Halifax Thunderbirds were 11-7, so were the Warriors. 10-8 for Calgary and the Rochester Nighthawks. So Calgary, in my opinion, is going to have the biggest fall this year. Georgia Swarm at 9-9, San Diego Seals at 9-9, Ottawa Blackbears at 8-10, with the Colorado Mammoth the same. Oshawa Firewolves at 7-11, Philadelphia Wings at 7-11, and then Toronto Rock at 6-12, and then the Vegas Dogs Vegas Desert Dogs at the very bottom with a 4-14 record. So the thing about this season, I think the teams going into this new season, I think the teams got a lot more even. So I think you're going to see a lot of this more, 9-9 teams kind of, because there's going to be games that, it's going to be like a triangle. Philly might beat Toronto might beat Buffalo will beat Philly, kind of deal like that, right? Maybe not Philly exactly, but you know what I'm saying, right? And it's in a nice little triangle. So this is going to be an interesting season. The teams have gotten a lot more even. This league has got a lot more like even across the board. We do have a couple juggernauts still out here, but I truly believe at the end of the day, this league is very even. For the playoffs, we had Buffalo and San Diego. Buffalo squeaked out a win 5-4. So San Diego is a better team than everyone's giving them credit for, including myself, to be honest with you. I remember I watched that game, and I mean, they swarmed over Buffalo. They smothered them, and Buffalo just, did what Buffalo does and goes and gets it done when needed. Saskatchewan versus Georgia. Saskatchewan beat Georgia 13-9. And, again, Saskatchewan was just made, but it just shows how close these games are. Halifax versus Calgary. Halifax beat Calgary 16-12. Again, I think Halifax was clearly the better team there, but Calgary did have a couple really strong big guys, and, Nick Rose and net, like it's not surprising that they have Halifax run for their money, but in reality, Halifax really just came out, and I think they pretty much took the game right away. Vancouver and Rochester. Vancouver 15-10. If I found now Del Bianco, spoiler alert, he's at the top of the list or near the top of the list here coming into this season. There's a lot of arguments to be made. He's the best goaltender in the world right now, box goaltender at least. And he's really turned that team around in Vancouver when he went there, because they were kind of a middle of the pack team. And once he went there, it was just lights out for them. Semifinals were Buffalo and Vancouver. Game 1 was 9-3. Game 2 was 11-9. Obviously, again, Vancouver tried to, that second game, they really did get closer, but Buffalo was just, they were destined for greatness last season. Saskatchewan and Halifax. Saskatchewan beat Halifax 16-7 and then 10-9 in overtime. Halifax, that was a little bit of a heartbreaker there. But I mean, to be honest with you, I think Saskatchewan was the deeper team last year. They were just so all around. Halifax, I would say, maybe had some more top end talent than Saskatchewan, and I know Saskatchewan fans are not going to like that, but I really do find, if healthy, Halifax, has scoring power that cannot be stopped. Saskatchewan, don't get me wrong, they're a fantastic team. I've said this many times before, but we're going to get into this when we get into the stats of the players here, or the teams. Everybody can score, but they don't have that guy, they don't have the 100-point guy. They don't. And nothing against that. There's nothing wrong with that. Their team is phenomenal, and I think that they have one of the best chances to take it all this year. So don't take it wrong when I'm saying that, but I do think Halifax top end talent is better than Saskatchewan. Still, too, honestly. Then we got the finals, obviously, and Buffalo beat Saskatchewan 12-10. Saskatchewan beat Buffalo game 2 at 11-10, and then Buffalo came out in game 3 and really showed, that they were going to take that three-peat. They weren't going to let that slip through their fingers. And Buffalo is a fantastic, amazing team. So you can't take that away from them. And that's why when everybody's cutting them, they haven't done a lot of flashy stuff this offseason. They've definitely had some big, subtractions, but do not count them out. They have Matt Vince back there, Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. You cannot count these guys out. I'm telling you right now. Do not. They are still contenders. Now, everyone else is elevated to their game, though. Just can't see them not being in the top, 3 of the league anyway this season. With Philadelphia Wings, their home record, so they were 7-11 last season. 207 goals for, 231 goals against, 4-5 home record, 3-6 away record, 100 goals for exactly, and 120 goals against, and they missed the playoffs. Give you your top 10 players here. Joey Rosardis, 41 goals, 80 assists, 121 points. Mitch Jones, 131 goals, 79 assists, 110 points. Both played 18 games. Mitch Jones, as we know, is going to Vegas. That's a massive addition for them. That's a big loss for them. That's a 100-point guy. Then you got Holden Katoni with 60 points. You've got Brendan O'Neill with 57 points. He was a rookie, so that's pretty good. 25 goals out of him. Blaze Riordan with 61 points. Phil Caputo with 35 points. Sam Leclerc with 44 points. Tony Malcolm, which is gone, 41 points. Dalton Young, 16 points in 18 games. And Liam Patton with 14 points in 17 games. So obviously defenseman there. And then you got goalies with Nick Demude, 18 games played, 186 goals against, 78 save percentage. So not bad, honestly, there. 12.74 goals against average. And he had 876 minutes. So that's obviously going to be their guy going into this season. Really, those numbers, considering how their record was and what their record shows, really was actually pretty good, in my opinion. So really quick running down the schedule here. They need to score more is one thing they really need to do by looking at this. And their goals against average really wasn't horrible. They let 18 goals up 2 times. And other than that, 19 goals up by the Bandits, 17 by Rochester, or the Roughnecks, 18 by the Seals, 18 by Halifax. So, I mean, they're playing, other than that, 15 goals. You want to try to keep it below 10 if you can. And they did against, the Firewolves, the Mammoth, they kept it at 10. And the Desert Dogs were against 9. So, I mean, as you can see, we'll see what happens. Philly, I don't know what it is about Philly. I said this on a TikTok the other day. I think Philly is going to surprise people this season. There's no rhyme or reason for that. I do like Nick Demude. I do like some of their players over there. They still have some really top end talent. Joey Restardis decided to stay there, and Caputo as well, I think. So I mean, like they're going, they've got some guys, and hopefully everything can go well, and they can somehow manage to stay there. Like I've been saying this whole time, I know there's a lot of people that say they can't, and I completely would understand logistically if that can't happen, but it's going to be sad if they leave. So anyway, let's move on to the Rochester Nighthawks here. We've got a 10-8 record last season, 228 goals for, 209 goals against, 4-5 home record, 6-3 away record, lost in the quarterfinal. Connor Fields with 123 points, 46 goals. You've got Ryan Lockberry with 27 goals and 116 points. Absolutely amazing duo those two are, obviously. You've got Ryan Smith with 49 goals and 35 assists for 84 points. Like, huge here. You've got some guys, you got Thomas McConvey with 76 points as well. Curtis Knight, 39 points. Graydon Hogg, he was a rookie, 24 points for him. Kyle Waters, 24 points as well. Matt Gillray, 19 points. And then you've got the goalies here. You've got Riley Hutchcraft, who's probably their starter. He was a 79% save percentage, 11.24 goals against, and he had 550 minutes almost. And you have Rylan Hartley. He played 9 games last year, 86 goals against, 77.4% save percentage, 10.79 against, and he played 478 minutes. So it's probably going to be between those guys, I guess I really would have to say, to Rochester. Rochester on the back end, I mean, realistically, they don't look that bad, but I can tell you right now that they have a really top end scorers there in that duo. Is that going to be enough? I mean, they did really kill it last season, to be honest with you. And I mean, they're a scary team to play against. They had a couple games here. I'm going to look into it right now. Like here's the one right here. They put up 21 goals against Vegas. It was against Vegas, don't get me wrong, but still, like, that's insane, 21 goals. And then other goals here, like they had 19 against Georgia, which honestly Georgia doesn't get enough credit. So they had a couple really big goal games, but I will say, like Ottawa, they struggled to score against there. They also struggled to score against Saskatchewan and Vancouver and Buffalo. So that's the thing I was saying about Rochester. As much as I think that they're fantastic, they're such a glass cannon, I always like to call them. I do think Rochester, the issue with them is that they go against those top defenses, those top goaltenders, and you can see it. It says it right there. It shows it in the numbers that they're not able to score on them. I mean, let me just look at this over again. Sorry. And let me just look at Halifax, for example, because Halifax, did they even play Halifax last year? Yeah, they did. They only scored 10 on Halifax even. They played good defense in that game, though, I will say that. But contained Halifax really well that game. But they can't score on the top defense and the top goaltenders, from what the stats show last season. So whether they'll be able to work on that and try to correct that going into this season, we'll have to wait and see. But Rochester, I do like them. I think they're a glass powerhouse. And I mean, I think from what I understand, they're the grapevine and everything. It's kind of, again, one of these, secrets, quote unquote secrets, that isn't a secret. They're going to be getting new jerseys come next season. I think it was just the fact that they kind of ran out of time. So you'll be seeing a new look come from them. Again, nothing official. That's just me kind of piecing things together and following the breadcrumbs. So next we got San Diego Seals, 99 record, 215 goals for, 209 goals against, 6-3 home record, 3-6 away records. Obviously on the road, it's so much harder for them. I mean, it's funny because realistically, they're one of those other teams that, guys have to fly into all the time to get there. So who knows? Maybe I don't know exactly what the reason is for that one. But anyway, obviously they need to correct that, away record. And hopefully if they could add 1 or 2 more wins to that, that pushes them over the edge as well, right? They did squeak into the playoffs last year, but it was a tight race. If they wouldn't have beat Albany, which is now Oshawa, in that last game, it would have been game over for them and they would have missed the playoffs. So top 10 players are Rob Hellier. He put up 93 points, 29 goals. Berg is 49 goals, 88 points. huge. Ryan Benesh, 27 goals, 39 assists, 66 points. He's moved on though from there. Then you got Ben McIntosh, 24 goals, 42 assists, 66 points. Again, Zach Courier, 31 points in 17 games. Trey Leclerc, 27 points in 12 games. Kyle Jackson, 20 points in 8 games. Trent DeKiko, 18 points in 8 games. Dylan Watson, 14 points in 9 games. Jake Govett, 14 points in 18 games. So those are obviously back-end guys. Then you got goalies. You got Christopher Ogoleri. He put up 198 goals against, 76.5%, 11.52 goals against average, and he's played over 1,000 minutes last season. Things, man. San Diego, I don't know what it is about them. I think they're a middle of the pack team. I think they're a bubble team. I do think that, honestly. So let's even look at their record last season, right? So they put up 20 on the Desert Dogs, don't get me wrong. They got Berg, who can score. A hard time stopping the more offensive teams, I would say. But realistically, if they can just score a little bit more this season, they could take the win here. Like, realistically, they just need to put some more goals in the net, I think, is the main thing for these guys. But we'll see. I think they had made a few additions there. So next we have Saskatchewan Rush, 13-5 record, 213 goals for, 179 goals against, 6-3 record at home, 7-2 on the road, and then they lost in the game 3 of the finals. So they gave Buffalo a good run for their money. Derek Keenan's the general manager and head coach. Players, you got Zach Mans, obviously 74 points in 18 games. Robert Church, 73 points in 14 games, 33 goals for him, 35 for Zach Mans. Adam Shanks, 35 goals, 72 points. Ryan Keenan, 26 goals, 73 points. And then Brock Haley was a rookie last season, 16 goals, 43 points. Matt Hosak, 4 goals, 17 assists, 21 points, as a defenseman beast. One of the best defensemen in the league. Frank Scigliano is obviously the starting goalie there. Had a big season with the Sand Bellies, taking them to the Mann Cup as well. So again, he's been to the finals for the Mann Cup and lost, and also went to the NLL finals and lost there. So a little bit of a rough year for him. But I mean, come on, you're there. He has a 79.5 save percentage, 9.4 goal against average, 957 minutes, so just under 1,000. And I mean, this guy is, the heart and soul of Saskatchewan. And here's what I was talking about, the scoring here in Saskatchewan. No hate, okay? Nothing to talk about. I love Saskatchewan. They were the team I was riding with in the playoffs last year. But these stats, these numbers don't lie. They do not have a guy, which is what I was saying earlier this week, and I got kind of, a lot of pushback on this, especially from the Saskatchewan fans. They do not have a guy that is a 40-plus goal scorer, when other teams have 50-plus, Berg 49, all this stuff. So that's all I was saying in that. I love Robert Church, actually. Robert Church is my favorite player on this team, and I think there is room for him to grow and some of these other guys to still obviously really take that next step. But, when you're talking about high-level scoring, and don't get me wrong, everybody in the NHL is high-level scoring. I don't mean it like that, but I'm talking that elite, above the best in the world, they stand out, and they don't have that guy. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's almost better if you have a bunch of guys who can score. And those are the teams that win the championships. It's not the guys that have, 1 or 2 guys that can really put everything together. I'd prefer to have a team of guys. I would prefer to have 6 30-goal guys than have 2 40-plus goal guys. Let's just put it that way, right? So don't take this anything like that bad or anything. So as you can see here, we're going to look over. I mean, they could put up, like I just said, they could put up more goals. Their lowest, the lowest goal they scored was against the Bandits, 7 goals, right? It's the Bandits. Let's give them some slack there. But 8 against the Georgia Swarm, 9 against the Thunderbirds. They put up 17 against the Mammoth, which was good. You had 8 against the Toronto Rock, 9 against the Thunderbirds again. You need to get into that. You need to get 12, 13, 14 goals a game in order to really give yourself a shot. So, like I said, they need they could use some depth scoring. They could use, I think it's just going to be more development out of some of these guys. And I know they have a couple of young guys coming up in there and stuff. So excited to see that anyway. Toronto Rock, you had 6-12 record, 189 goals for, 208 goals against, with a 2-7 home record. That's pretty rough. 4-5 away record, and they missed the playoffs. Obviously, they ended up trading Rose to Calgary. They ended up trading Mitch to Snoo away. And they were smart because look what all the pieces they got back for that. And Rose is back on their team. Snoo is probably going to go back there, I would assume. Again, I don't know anything. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I think that's what's going to happen. Top 10 players. Josh Dalwick, which is pretty funny. 75 points, 42 goals. Then you got Chris Bushi, 40 goals. Corey Small, which I think he's moving on. 51 goals. He's going to San Diego, I think now. Or 51 points, 25 goals. He's moved on. Craig, 24 goals, 46 assists, or 46 points. Tom Schleber, 15 goals, 36 points, which again, I think we don't know what's going on with him right now. I know he's going to be injured for at least the first part of the season. Then you got Jalen Rogers with 39 points. You got Brian Cameron, rookie, with 23 points. You got Mitch Desnew with 10 points over there, but then he obviously ended up over in Philadelphia to try to make a playoff push over there. You got Justin Martin with 8 points, and then Zach Creaney with 13 points, and adding, you're gonna add Owen Hiltz and CJ Kears to that lineup, and I mean CJ Kears and Owen Hiltz are now going to be slouch. So you've already got 2 40-goal guys, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to come watch CJ Kears come in here and put up 40 this year, 35 plus anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see that, and to add that to Toronto. Plus Nick Rose is back. Plus they're probably going to get the Snoo back. Toronto's going to be good this year, boys, and it's funny. Jamie should he should have got GM of the year or something last year for the moves he made and everything, the way it comes in. So interesting to see what's going to end up happening there, but especially with the Disney situation, but we'll see. They actually really didn't do too bad. 8 goals. They had a couple games where they couldn't score, especially coming to this end of the season. Beginning of the season, they were actually doing pretty good, except for against the Black Bears, which I go back into Higgins as slept on, and Ottawa's really slept on. They only could put up 5 against Ottawa. Other than that, a couple 8-goal games, 9 goals, but you got to get over that 10 mark to really do it. And even you really want to be scoring. If you want to cement yourself, you want to try to put 15 up, something like that, right? So let's keep moving forward here. We got Vancouver with 11-7 record, 196 goals for, 172 goals against. You had a 7-2 home record. You had a 4-5 home record or away record. And obviously they could do a lot better home, which can be interesting this year because I do think they're going to be a lot better. So they're going to get that home field advantage in the playoffs more than likely, knock on wood and all that stuff. But I do think that they're going to be looking really strong this year. And that could be the difference maker for them making or winning the championship or not. So we'll have to see how the season goes. Top 10 players, Keegan Ball with 112 points, 43 goals. Adam Charlambides, 30 goals and 84 points. See, I am getting better at my pronunciations. I am working on it for all the people always chirp me, and that's okay because I need it. So I love it. Then we got Kevin Crowley with 22 goals and 53 points. Riley Lowen with 19 goals and 41 points. Marcus Clarich with 16 goals and 46 points. Ryan Martel with 46 points as well. Owen Grant, Transition Player of the Year with 38 points. You got Jonathan Pineshko with 20 points and 12 games played. Dylan McIntosh, 6 games played and 14 points. Reed Bowering with 13 points in 18 games. Again, a couple of young guys on there. There's some really strong. I think Vancouver, honestly, is just so deep. They don't have a weakness, in my opinion. With the addition of Jesse King and Superman, Curtis Dixon, it's going to be honestly, I'm going to be surprised to see them lose a game this year. I'm not even kidding you. With Del Bianco in the back end, you have Owen Grant transitioning. You've even got Connor O'Toole. He played 12 games last season, 2 goals against, 83.3 save percentage. He only had 20 minutes though on there, obviously, right? So that's a small sample size, but he's really good. But obviously you had Christian Del Bianco with 6 games played, 52 goals against, 82.1 save percentage, 8.77 goals against average, and a 355-minute mark. So obviously, again, not that huge of a sample size. And you also had Aiden Walsh had 703 minutes. I mean, he has 78.8% save percentage. He's young. He's going to Calgary. He's probably going to be their guy, I would assume. I'm going to slot him in there, I would think anyway. But and he had a 989 save goals against average too. So I mean, he's no slouch, but I mean, you could definitely tell the difference between once Del Bianco got in there compared to how he got in there, right? Okay, so now we got Colorado Mammoth next. You've got 8-10 record, 195 goals for, 212 goals against, 4-5 home record, 4-5 away record. You got coaches is Brad Self, general manager, Pat Coyle, head coach, Jason Bishop, offensive coach, Dan McRae, defensive coach. I'm pretty sure that's been changed. I think Dan McRae's over in Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken now. And we've got top 10 players. You got Ryan Lee at 95 points, 36 goals. Will Malcolm with 35 goals, 81 points. Connor Robinson, which is gone now from there. He just got traded, and they brought in quite a bit, 67 points. Connor Kelly with 60 points, 30 goals. Eli McLaughlin, 23 goals, 46 assists, or 46 points. Zed Williams is gone. He put up 33 points in 10 games, which is crazy. Thomas Vila, 25 points. Tyson Gibson with 18 points in 10 games. Jordan Gillies with 12 points in 18 games. And Ben McDonald, 9 points in 5 games. Obviously, a couple of young guys in there as well. Dylan Ward, 187 goals against, 79.4 save percentage, and 11 goals, just over 11 goal against average with over 1,000 minutes. I mean, you can't really ask for anything more than that. That's what it is. Nathan Whitham's probably going to be their guy if I had to guess. I mean, he had the most playing time. He had 65 minutes. I mean, again, Colorado, good guy to mentor under is Dylan Ward. I mean, the guy is he's a top 5 goalie of all time. I went into this in another video, in another podcast already, but he is a top 5 goalie of all time. I don't know if he's a top 5 goalie going into the season. I say that with all the utmost respect. Colorado's another one, 6th jersey in the league. I always say that, but they're another one that is kind of in that middle of the pack team. I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with them yet. I got to really analyze the stats and see where I'm going to put them. But did they get stronger or weaker this offseason? We're going to see what happens. There might be some room for some young guys to come step in. They did have a good draft. They got Connor Knock, which was a good pickup for them. I don't know if he's going back to school or not, but whatever. But they have some guys over there, and we'll see what happens. Again, they're just going to be a middle of the pack team, I think, fighting for that those last couple playoff spots. So that's just my opinion on them. Georgia Swarm, 99, 214, 217 goals against, 214 goals for, 217 goals against, almost completely even. 4-5 home record, 5-4 away record. Lyle Thompson had 42 goals, 93 points. Still, in my opinion, the best player in the world right now. I know there's a debate with that, but that is who I think is. Shane Jackson, you have 75 points, 32 goals. Andrew Q, he just got traded to Colorado, actually. 74 points, 28 goals. So it's a big addition for them. Brian Cole had 33 goals, 64 points. Brandon Barberry is going to Halifax, but he had 13 goals, 55 points. Jordan McIntosh is 13 goals, 30 points. Mike Thompson with 22 points. Seth Oakes with 22 points in 10 games. And Adam Weiderman with 13 points. And then we got Brett Dobson with 202 goals against, 76.3 save percentage, 11.82 goals against average, and over 1,000 minutes. Brett Dobson, man, he's got such great accolades in the PLL. And I mean, I just watched him in the 6s this year. And I think somebody else said this to me. And I kind of, I'm going to have to watch him this season. But he might be a better field goalie than he's a box goalie. Something to prove. Georgia, it's just something about that team. They were mid-tier last year. I think they're going to be very similar this year. I wouldn't right now set them, have them making the playoffs. I will see what they do. It's nice to have Lyle, though. I mean, he's the best player in the world, like I said. And I do think that, I would love to see them do good. I love Georgia. I'm like a closet Georgia fan a little bit. And I just love Lyle. I like Brett Dobson myself. And I think that John Alarda has just done so much for box lacrosse down there. That's hard not to root for that franchise and those players and that management and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I really do like this team. And I know we'll see what happens with them. I'm always rooting for them, though. And really, The most goals they put up is 15 twice against the Black Bears, which is actually pretty impressive, and Halifax Vancouver Warriors, which again, pretty impressive, especially because it was March 22nd, 2025, which is after Del Bianco would have got there. Vegas Desert Dogs, 16 goals in that night. Realistically, they weren't really that bad, and they could have easily won. They had a lot of close games here. They won a few by close. They lost. Usually when they lost, Calgary Roughnecks was a close loss last year, and so was Saskatchewan Rush. Saskatchewan only put up 8. They put up 7. And same thing, 11-10 loss for Albany Vancouver, 15-13. Like they had some close games here. This is the thing about lacrosse, right? That I love is like even quote unquote a team like Georgia, who is technically when you look at them, even after just reading that, I was like, wow, okay, so you never know with Georgia. Honestly, you really don't. They have the talent to do it. It's just whether they will or not. They need some depth scoring. They need a little bit more scoring. And we'll see what happens. Lyle's amazing though, and I would never count Georgia out just based on that, pretty much, to be honest with you. So we'll see, and it's going to be interesting when I sit down and do my rankings of the teams here coming up for this next podcast, because it's going to be tough for me. Next, we've got Halifax Thunderbirds, 11-7, 239 goals for, 213 goals against, 6-3 home record, 5-4 away record, so winning record both. You got Randy Stotts and Clark Peterson, both with over 100 points. Clark with 100, 102 for Stotts. You have 32 goals for him and 30 goals for Clark Peterson. Then you have 31 goals for Hogarth, 63 points total. Dawson Theed is also a 32 goal scorer. So again, here we go. Then you got Mike Robinson, rookie, 22 goals, 54 points. Cody Jameson, 15 games played, so he was playing injured last season. 23 goals for, 46 goals against. Jason Knox, 12 goals for, 39 goals against. Ryan Terfenko, 17 goals for, 38 goals against. He was good. Graham Hosak, another absolute beast of a defenseman, 5 goals, 16 assists, 21 points. Jake Withers, 17 games played, 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points. You also have Tyson Bell back there, which he's phenomenal as well. These guys are the Six Nation boys, man. They really run those guys. This is what I was talking about, kind of with the passion. They have a passion to play for Halifax. Halifax absolutely loves these guys. They love their lacrosse there. Their fucking barn is booming all the time. And I can't wait to go to the opener on December 5th. So super pumped for that. And this team, Halifax, is no joke this year. Do not count them out. I'm not kidding you. We got Warren Hill in net. That's with 136 goals against, 76.4 save percentage, 11.42 in 714 minutes. You also have Drew Hutchinson with a 76 save percentage, 75 goals against, and he has almost just under a 12 goal against average. So their goaltending is honestly, they have a good tandem in there. I think Hill is going to have a bounce back year this year. He had a lot going on personally last year, and I think that a lot of people aren't giving him the credit that he deserves, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Then we had, high scoring game in Rochester, 19-18 win, which is massive. They had a shootout with them. That shows a lot, honestly, right there. But overall, honestly, they have they averaged quite a decent, they averaged 13.3 goals for, 11.8 goals against. So they're fine, in my opinion. Like I said, a lot of people, Halifax was like Saskatchewan, didn't do a lot of flashy stuff this season, picked up Bomberry, which was a sneaky little pickup. And again, people are sleeping on Halifax. Don't sleep on Halifax. Halifax is in the contender club. They're in that top tier of teams. I don't care what anybody says. And watch, I don't need to do anything. They're going to prove everybody that says they're not wrong. So we'll see them in the semis this year for sure. And I would love to see them win a championship, obviously. Calgary Roughnecks, 10-8, 219 goals for, 209 goals against. You got a 3-6 home record, 72 away record. So again, that's kind of strange, when you can't win in your own barn. But they've had a lot of construction there, all this different stuff. So we'll see. Then we have Curtis Dixon with 108 points and 48 goals. You have Jesse King with 30 goals and 106 points. Those two are gone, boys. And that's the thing. They've lost 200 points of production out of their offense, over 200 points. this isn't good. You can't replace guys like that. You just can't right off the bat. And they don't have their 2026 first round draft pick. Again, I don't get it. But anyway, then you have Tanner Cook with 70 points, so 30 goal scorer. Dane Dobby with 36 goals, 63 points. Tyler Pace, which I think he's gone to, 57 points. Hayden Dixon, which I'm pretty sure he's gone to, 37 points. If I'm not, I could be wrong with the Hayden Dixon. Dixon might be there actually. I could be wrong. I feel like he's gone too. Braden Maya, 32 points in 11 games is really good, honestly. And then, and then you got Matthew Gauthier with 10 games played and 19 points. So again, that's pretty good. They do have some young guys in there. I mean, I would assume Aiden Walsh is going to be their goalie. I'm not going to talk about the goalies here really, because obviously you had Colby Bowman here, 6 games played, 4 goals against, with an 85.2 save percentage, 43 minutes though only, 5.58 goals against. Cam McLeod is kind of their guy, obviously, but he's not the guy. Nick Rose is obviously gone now, and I do think Walsh is going to be their guy coming out of training camp, but we'll see what happens. Again, this is really irrelevant because you had 21 goals against the Vegas Desert Dogs last year in the middle of February there. You also had 18 against Halifax right off the bat. This team is going to have a fall from grace. They had a 12.2 goal per game average last season. And I can tell you we're going to be lucky at 10 this season of them. In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion. Yell at me in the comments. You got Buffalo Bandits next, 13-5 record, 242 goals against, or goals for, 194 goals against, 6-3 record, 72 record, setting records last season, breaking records for attendance numbers in regular season. Amazing. So of the top 10 players, you obviously have Josh Byrne and Dane Smith with 134 points apiece last season. Josh Byrne with 44 goals, Dane Smith with 32 goals. Dane Smith does whatever he has to in order to get. He doesn't care where he plays. He's all about the team. He's all about winning. Kyle Buchanan, 55 points in 18 games, 34 goals. They re-signed him. He was a must re-sign. Chase Frazier, 26 goals, 50 points is obviously, and Chris Kluter, 17 goals, 37 points. They're both going to Vegas, so that's going to be big for them. You got Matt Vince, obviously, is in net with a 79.1% save percentage, 193 goals against, and over 1,000 minutes. So, with the 1071, you have this Oralman that got 2 goals against, 18 games played, 81.8 save percentage, 974 goal against average in 12 minutes. Obviously, he's just really picking up whenever Matt Vince, either wants a break or they just whatever, trying to throw him in there to get him some playing time, right? Basically, I think is more what's going on there. But who knows what kind of role Matt Vince is going to want this year. He might want maybe, hey, I'm going to take this game off and take this game off. Who knows? We don't know. It's up to Matt Vince. He can do whatever he wants. He's earned it. Thank you for coming back for another season, Matt Vince. That's all we care about as fans. I'll tell you that. If he needs somebody else to take on some of the workload so he can be ready for playoffs, I don't care. I do whatever you got to do. He's earned every right. So, again, goals last season, I mean, they had 19 against Philadelphia Wings. Always pretty much putting up in that middle of the pack. Had a hard time scoring against Saskatchewan. Obviously, no shame in that. Put up 18 against Black Bears. They lots of 15-goal games. And, the most they let up was 17 against Calgary, ironically. So, fantastic. Buffalo's still looking good. Do not count Buffalo out. I'm telling you right now, there's no way you should count Buffalo out. Then you got Albany, which is now Oshawa. You have 7-11 record, 192 goals for, 209 goals against, 5-4 home record, and 2-7 away record. So they have to be better away, but really, I can tell you a lot of the guys were flying in from where they're playing now, so that's not going to be an issue. And a lot of these guys are locked up long-term now. So Alex Simmons had 95 points, 37 goals. Ty Kurtz has 35 goals and 88 points. You had Ethan Walker with 27 goals and 75 points. You had Dyson Williams with 26 goals, 64 points. Just an amazing young core. They picked up, they didn't do much in the free agency, but they did have a nice defensive signing there, and with a veteran defenseman and Kyle Benish. And you have Doug Jamieson I really like Doug Jamieson too. 108 goals against, 79.6 per save percentage, 11.16 goal against average in over 1,000 minutes. So I mean, like he's fantastic too. You know what I mean? You had them with 17 goals, or sorry, yeah, they need to be more consistent in their scoring. They only had a goal per game of 10.7, so that needs to be raised. But I don't think that's going to be an issue this year. These guys are young; they're getting better, and I love Alex Simmons, and I think Dyson Williams is going to have a huge season. I think they're going to be the new kind of duo. They have Ty Kurtz there as well, is huge, and I wouldn't count them out. I think those guys will be. I do think they're going to hit 100-point seasons this season, in my opinion. You've got Ottawa Black Bears, 226 goals for, 213 goals against, with a 10-8 record, 6-3 at home, 4-5 on the road. Realistically, not really that bad. You got Dan McPhee, I think his name is. He's going to be there, and he's in Hamilton actually, so he's pretty close to where he is. I'm pretty sure, if I'm thinking about the right guy. We got Jeff T with 136 points, 52 goals, best player in the league right now. Honestly, I can still argue Lyle, but a lot of the guys, this is going to be the guy for them, and it's hard to argue that point. So Kieran with 104 points, again, massive, 43 goals. Riley O'Connor with 24 goals and 82 points. You've got Larson Sundown with 34 goals and 68 points. Keel Matisse with 20 goals and 59 points in 17 games. And, Zach Higgins, 202 goals against, 79.3 save percentage and 11.17 with over 1,000 minutes played. So again, by the eye test, I think Higgins is one of the best goalies in the league. I think I'd put him in the top. This is where it gets interesting. 3-4 slot for me is Higgins, in my opinion. You're gonna talk about this in a minute, and I'm gonna get yelled at. So again, I would just say if they could score a little bit more consistently, they would have a little bit more success. But even like the loss 16-17 to Halifax, obviously a little bit of a shutdown. And they brought in some veteran presence as well this offseason, but I think they're going to make a jump this year. I know they had 12.6 goals per game, and goals against was 11.8. So I mean, they're right there. Ottawa, I just think, is going to have a better season this season. So that's just I like their team, and I think Jeff T has won at every level. He won the PLL this season, or last season. He won sixes twice. I think he was on both teams, if I'm not mistaken. And then he also he carried the team. Like, no, I don't want to say that because it's Canada, don't get me wrong, but he honestly was head and shoulders above everybody else. And I think that's because he plays box and field, so sixes works well for him. And then I think that the only thing left is to go win, in the NLL, and I think he, maybe not win this season, but I think he's definitely going to see them make the playoffs. I don't see him. Can't have the best player in the world, which a lot of people argue that he is, miss the playoffs as much, right? Las Vegas Desert Dogs say best for last. 4-14, 189 goals for, 256 gols against, 2-7 home record, 2-7 away record. Obviously a disappointing season. You have Sean Williams, general manager. I've heard very high things about him. Everybody speaks very highly of him. He's very respected in the lacrosse community. And, it's going to be, and the moves he's made in this offseason shows that he knows what he's doing. Jonathan Donville with 21 goals and 83 points. Jack Hanna with 36 goals and 82 points. So they got a couple guys in there that are young that are really, going to take that step with this veteran presence as well, right? Casey Jackson with 55 points, 28 goals. Adam Poltris, a rookie last season, 23 goals, 47 assists, or 47 points total. Like, they have some young guys here. They got another Kyle Killen, 20 goals, 42 points. And even Jackson Webster is 16 goals, 42 points in 13 games. Huge. Like, they got some really good guys. Even Connor Kearse is a nice addition there too. 5 goals, 12 points in 16 games. And then for goalies, this is where it kind of gets interesting. So some guys say it's going to be Getty. He had a 74.8 save percentage with 13.34, 344 minutes played. And then you have Landon Kells, 18 games played, 175 goals against, 73.6 save percentage, 14.28, and 735 minutes. And I think he's probably going to be the guy, obviously, in my opinion. The only problem with him is, like, I mean, I went and looked at his numbers, and I can tell you they're not as bad, like, or they're good. The numbers, his rookie numbers are actually pretty good. I think he just got kind of thrown into the Sharks, and as a goalie, if you lose your confidence, it's hard to get back, kind of deal. Then you've got, and again, the name of the game is more goals for these guys, and obviously keep them out of the net. Like 20 goals by San Diego against them, 21 against the Rochester Nightwalks against them, 21 against Calgary. Again, like Calgary scored against them, 19 against Philadelphia Wings. Like, they are just letting up way too many goals. 14.2 goal against average with a 10.5 goals for average. So there it is. That's a long segment, guys. This is a good opportunity. I felt like to go over and to run through all the teams and just kind of give everybody, like I said, I'm a numbers guy. And so this is a good look at the numbers. Who do you think is going to be good this season? All that kind of stuff. But there's, numbers don't lie to me. And this is a good way to kind of blueprint where I think the teams are going to end up, which is coming next week. So let's talk about goalies now, okay? So this is getting to be a longer podcast, so I'm going to run through this a little bit quicker than I might have before. I'm just going to kind of run through them and tell you what I think, okay? We're going to start from the bottom up. So starting off, I'm going to start with the Rochester Nighthawks. Rylan Hartley, he had 1079 goals against average, 774 save percentage. It's again, this is a tough position because every team has a pretty solid goalie. I hope he proves me wrong, but the amount of offense they have on that team, I mean, it's hard. It's a hard league. I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but I think it's going to be him in my last spot at 14th. Then we've got next. I'd have to put Aiden Walsh with Calgary. I'm assuming he's going to be the goaltender there, and I'm only going to put him here really because I don't even know if he's going to be the starter. They could put Cam McLeod in, but I don't see it happening. Maybe they'll go with somebody young. I don't really know, but I mean Adam Walsh is pretty good numbers wise, and he had last season he had a 989 goals against average, 788 save percentage, so he's pretty solid overall. And, he just kind of needs that chance. And I think Calgary, honestly, if he can break out, he might surprise everybody. So that's the nice thing about Calgary this year. You never know. So he's going to be a 13th there. I'm probably going to put Kells at number 12, honestly. Kells, again, I think he was just thrown in too soon. We'll see with all the additions how Vegas does. They really haven't bulked up their back end all that much, though. So we'll see. Actually, that's not sure. I guess they did, but so we'll see. We'll have to see how Kells does this season with the new confidence of the teams in front of him. Again, this is another one that I'm kind of assuming he's going to be the guy, and we'll have to just kind of go from there. Honestly, a lot of people are going to hate this, but I'm going to put San Diego's goalie in that spot, Olgalergi. He's got like a 76 something. He's not, again. He's on a mid-pack team, in my opinion. San Diego is a bubble team. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying he's a bad goalie. I'm just saying that I think that there are better ones out there than him, so that's why I'm going to put him here. We're going to have to go Warren Hill here. As much as I love Warren Hill, and I do think he's going to have a decent year, I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to have a 78 save percentage right now with what his numbers are at 764, 11.42 goals against on a pretty solid Halifax team. I'm going to have to put him in this slot. That would be the 10th spot. Sorry. So I'm putting Warren Hill in the 10th spot for that reason. Again, he's not that he's a bad goalie. He just won, he just won with the Chiefs. Again, an amazing roster in front of him. So I just don't know if he's, again, I love Warren Hill. I hope that he has a bounce back year, and I think he's going to. I think he's going to have a better year than last year, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know if he's at that elite level anymore. He's definitely a pretty big guy. So, he covers a lot of the net, but he's not quite as athletic and doesn't have the movement that some of these other guys do. So that's why I put him there. Brett Dobson here. It's not that he's bad. I like Dobson a lot. I think he's a fantastic goaltender. He's just unproven in the NLL. He's got 763 with with an 11.82 goals against. Like, again, he's 9-9. It's not that he's bad. He's just, there's a lot of better goaltenders, in my opinion, on here in box. He's been fantastic in sixes, fantastic in field. He just hasn't been able to translate that to box. Now, I'm rooting for Georgia. Like I said, I'm kind of like a closeted Georgia fan. I love Georgia. I do. I'm not so closeted because I'm out about it, but it's like, I really do like Georgia. I do. I think they're a great team. They got the best player in the world. I really do hope Dobson proves me wrong here and moves up this list, but right now that's where I got to put him. So he's at number 9. At number 8, I'm going to go with Nick Demude. Demude is obviously, his numbers on the Philadelphia Wings are 11.62 and a 7.78 save percentage. I mean, on a team like Philly, that obviously they had some, decent firepower up front, but the depth scoring is really where I think they lack. Not the best defense for sure. And to have, young goalie do that, he's still so young. I think we're going to see development on him. And this is why actually he's kind of the key. He's one of the key pieces that could really make or break it for Philly. And like, I know Philly, I've kind of, again, like I've said this before, I don't know what it is about them, but I do think they're going to do better than people give them credit for. So that's number 8 there. So in 7th, see, this is where I'm going to probably get unpopular here, I think. And I think I'm going to get people that are ripping me apart for this one. But I'm putting Dylan Ward in 7th. And I've been saying that for a little bit. He's a top 5 goalie of all time. He's just not a top 5 goalie walking into the season. And no disrespect, he's getting up there in age. He's been, he's played a lot of games in his career. He had a 10.97 save percentage, 794 save percentage last season, 10.97 goals against. But when I look at Colorado, I think, have they gotten better? Have they gotten worse? And I would have to say they probably gotten a little bit worse. Now, they do have a couple of nice draft picks, depending whether they can step in and kind of step up right away. That's going to be yet to be told. But as of right now, I have to put Dylan Ward at 7, and I know that's hard to do. And that's what I've been trying to talk about that for a little while now. Doug Jamieson, I'm going to put at number 6, sorry. Doug Jamieson is a fantastic goaltender. 10.99 goal against average and 7.93 save percentage. I just think, I love him. And honestly, again, this is where I said like that 2 to 7, 3 to 7 range can really be argued. There's a lot of argument to be made. I could see somebody arguing that he's the 3rd best goalie in the league, 2nd best goalie in the league, maybe even. And after the season, we might be talking like that. But for right now, I've got to put him at 6. I have to go with Frank Scigliano, and I know people are going to hate this at 5th. Honestly, I get it. It's hard. This is kind of, went to the finals for the Mann Cup, went to the finals for the Mann Cup, went to the finals for the NLL championship, almost won. Really was fantastic in net in both games. He's got a 9.53 goals against average, just under 10, amazing. 7.94 save percentage, again, amazing. I'm not taking anything away. These goalies are very, very good. Frank had a really good team in front of him, though, and I think they have one of the better defensive teams in front of them as well. So for that reason, I'm going to put him at 5th. I'm going to put Nick Rose at 4. Now, this is walking into next season, okay? Absolutely no hate on him. Like, I love Nick Rose. I think back in Toronto, behind it, he's probably going to have an 80 save percentage again. The guy's fantastic. I really do think that. And I think that he's going to be one of the best goalies of all time when his career ends. There's nothing to talk about. He had last season, Nick Rose had a 7.97 save percentage and a 10.47 goals against average. Arguably, Calgary was decent and Toronto was, kind of a bit of, rough last season. So, I could see the argument if you wanted to put him in that top 2 spot. I could see it. That's what I'm saying. It's really hard. We've got the final 3. So final 3, we got Matt Vince, Del Bianco, and Higgins. Honestly, I'm going to have to put Matt Vince at 3rd. And I know people are, again, this is going to be controversial. I understand that. I'm not saying he's not the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I'm talking about walking into this season. He's older. That's right. I think he's 42 this year, if I'm not mistaken. And when you get up there like that, you just don't move the same. And his team has slightly gotten worse. I think his numbers are going to be a little bit worse this season. Just my opinion. Don't get me wrong. Can Matt Vince absolutely come prove me wrong that he is the best goalie in the league still today? Absolutely. Do I think he's sitting at number 1? No. I think he's, I have to give him number 3 with all due respect. When I say that, I mean, Buffalo is still in contention. And if he didn't come back, they wouldn't be. But as of right now, today, if I had to choose, what goalie I'm going to, run into a game without the skill set they're sitting at right now, Matt Vince would be my 3rd pick. Zach Higgins is my 2nd pick. Now, I know this is where it's going to get controversial. 1093 goal against average, 79 save percentage number. He went 8-10 last season. Listen, Higgins, I understand on paper. You could argue that he should be probably sitting 7, 6, whatever. There's, like I said, there's an argument to be made there. With that being said, I do truly believe that, Ottawa obviously wasn't as strong as some of these other teams. And still look at those numbers. When I look, I'm talking about the eye test when I'm looking here. And I just remember last season sitting down watching Ottawa games, and just every time I seen him make an amazing save, so many too. It's not just 1 or 2. There were so many times he made a big, amazing saves. I was like, holy cow, man. I just remember having my socks blown off by him all the time watching him. So I think Zach Higgins is the 2nd best goalie in the league coming into the season. And I can understand why you would argue against that. Again, this is just my opinion. And I could change my opinion for a couple weeks or even after the 1st week. Argue with me about that one. I know that one's going to be a bit controversial. And that's my take. That's my hot take for the season, I guess, probably. And finally, we have Christian Del Bianco. And I honestly don't think there's an argument to be made here. He's the best box lacrosse goalie in the world right now. He didn't play the full season last season. 977 goal against average, 82-1 save percentage. And when he moved from Calgary to Vancouver there, you just seen Vancouver become a completely different team. They went from being like that mid-pack, kind of trying to claw past Rochester for that top 4 spot, to really jumping in there and going on that streak. And just, they play so well in front of him. Vancouver's going to be so deep, and I cannot see them, not at least vying for the championship this year. They're just such a great team. So for that reason, I think with all the additions, with all the firepower they've added, with, the transition game that it has there, they have one of the best transition games in the league. Their defense is solid. Goaltending, again, is number 1 in the league, in my opinion, going into this season. Obviously, we're not talking GOAT yet or anything like that, but maybe in another few years, who knows? But he's just fantastic, Del Bianco. And currently, right now, in my opinion, he's the best in the world. And I think a lot of people will agree with that. This number 1 pick is not as controversial as my 2nd. So you guys let me know what you think about that pick. I just kind of tried to run through this pretty quick. But you guys let me know what you think about that. I know there's going to be some debating there because, like I said, the goaltending depth is so good in this year. Let's move right into the interview with Brad, the executive producer of the Mighty Oaks. And this documentary is so inspiring. Even just the trailer I've seen, it gets you hyped to watch it. This is what lacrosse needs. It needs more media. It needs more attention. It needs more all this, this show-stopping stuff, selling the stars, selling the game. This follows guys, a group of kids in high school trying to win their championship, shows them, growing up together, playing together. There is nothing, you hear this from professional athletes all the time. There's nothing better than winning a championship with your boys from high school. And I can completely understand that because, like, you rode bikes with these guys, you grew up with these guys. They've seen you grow up as a kid to, a young adult, and then to go on to your next stage. So, I don't think there is anything much more special than that. And it's funny to hear when you hear professionals talk about that, even when they've won, whatever in their, even at the highest level, when they win, a lot of them still say that high school team that they, won state championships with or whatever was the team that they always remembered the most and loved. Interview, Brad's a great guy. And we learn a lot about not only the documentary, but about how this Amazon process goes and how these guys really kind of get this deals done and stuff. So let's get right into it. And I hope you enjoy and support this if you're watching, because, this is what we need in lacrosse, is more of this stuff. So today we want to welcome to the show Brad Ledwith. He is the producer of the Mighty Oaks documentary that's coming out on Netflix in the beginning of December.
and get anything that can bring eyes to lacrosse and more excitement is great. So I wanted to have him on the show. So thanks for being here, Brad. How are you doing today?
Hey, Jake, thanks so much for being here. I hate to correct you right away. We are going to try to get on Netflix, but we're starting on Amazon Prime and on Apple TV and all the other streamers. And the interesting thing about the way streaming works is that if it does extremely well, which I hope it does, after all of your listeners watch, then Netflix could buy it. So that's kind of how the production thing works. But thank you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean Netflix. Sorry, I just meant production in general.
That's all
Sorry
right.
about that.
No problem.
But Netflix is obviously the oldest one, so
they're the 800-pound gorilla, that's for sure.
That's right. So okay, man. Well, let's just start with your background in lacrosse in general.
Well, it's interesting. I grew up in Southern California. In fact, this is the weather we have here in the winter time, and I grew up playing baseball and never knew anything about lacrosse. I always say I'm an ESPN kid because I started watching ESPN when it started, and they used to have this lacrosse game on Memorial Day, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But that was it. My dad used to talk about Jim Thorpe, and he was a lacrosse player, so I remember that. And so fast forward about 35 years, I have 4 kids, 3 boys. I said, let's put them in every sport we can put them into. And that included box lacrosse, it included baseball, soccer, and they'd come home from a camp, and I'd be, how was soccer camp? They're like, oh, it was okay, Dad. And then I'd bring them home brought them home from lacrosse camp, and they're like, Dad, that is the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I'm like, okay, that's what I really wanted to see, was how much passion do they have for this game. And it grew on me. I have truly become a lacrosse nut, kind of like you, I guess, Jake, that I'm all things lacrosse. I've everything from lacrosse cards to running camps to building a community of lacrosse players and youth and coaching. And I've just thrown my hat in full bore. And now I'm the executive producer of this documentary to tell everybody about this sport and this amazing, unique community of Morgan Hill, California.
Well, that's the thing, right? I truly believe we need more media out there to get this exposed, because I find that a lot of people just aren't exposed to lacrosse, and that's the biggest thing. And it's like guys like me and you that get exposed to it, and then we're all of a sudden hooked, because it is the oldest game in the world. It is the best game in the world, in my opinion. And I'm a diehard hockey fan saying that. So
growing up in San Diego, we didn't have hockey. We had roller hockey. That was before the roller hockey started. But I always tell people lacrosse is the 5 sports, that we all love. It's the hand-eye coordination of hockey. It's the, the fitness of soccer, the contact of football, the moving without the ball of basketball, and the hand-eye and the accuracy of baseball. I mean, what else do you want? It's awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just let's get right into the Mighty Oaks here. And
sure.
Can you give us a quick snapshot of who you are and how you got involved with the project?
Yeah, it's so I'm the executive producer of the Mighty Oaks, and it's a full feature documentary that we started 7 years ago, and it follows a team from the beginning of when these kids were a rec team, building it from nothing and trying to win trying to win a championship in our little town. And the producer obviously is me, but the director I got in touch with because he is a friend of mine from elementary school. He's friends with a friend of mine from elementary school, and he's doing the Olympics. He's done the X Games. He's done the World Poker Tour, and he just was drawn to this story of these kids that trying to win a championship from public school in California. Lacrosse has been known in the States, at least, as a kind of a private prep school type of thing. And we got lucky where we live in the northern part of California. We had a former retired NLL box player, Gary Rosiski. And I went up to Gary, and he played for the San Jose Stealth, and we were just friends, kind of acquaintances. I said, hey, I'm going to start this lacrosse program in Morgan Hill. I said, can I get your help? He said, of course. And so these kids that never knew anything about lacrosse started learning from an NLL professional player, and they learned the Canadian style, which I believe is the best. And it's that style of grit and down and dirty, and everything is about the team, and the things that Gary instilled in these kids took them as they started to build. Well, we went 3 years without winning a game. And we would put them in these tournaments and we would just get killed. And I kept on asking my kids and the other kids that were playing, like, do you guys like still like playing? They're like, yeah, we love it. So kids just didn't know whether or not it was a win or a loss. It was just that they loved the game. And so as we got going, and we wanted to get it into the public high school. And that's really what the story kind of comes together, is that we got it into the public high school, boys and girls in California. And it was just one of those things that all of a sudden the school got behind it, the community got behind it. And you had all these kids that had, 4 or 5 years of experience. And then, as you know, COVID hit. So I was the first coach. We had 28 practices. I didn't know what I was doing. I just threw my hat in the ring. I'm like, we have to have a coach. And obviously, we know what happens after COVID. But, we had a year and a half before we had our first real game. And Gary was our coach. And it was just sweet. It was so awesome. These kids started to win. They started to compete. And then all of a sudden, they started to believe in themselves. And before you know it, we really believed that we could win a championship. And I was like, you know what? Let's get a film crew and see if I can get a coach to like come and coach the team. I don't know anything about the team. So I was like reaching out to all these PLL players. I used to get guys to come in like Mikey Schlosser and Trevor Baptiste, and Miles Jones came all the way from Florida to help the team. And I'm like, how can I get these guys to coach? And so we finally found Gavin Hare. And looks like Gavin is one of those people who, I always call him a lax bro. He coaches, he refs, he's got his own men's team. He's just a really, really good dog. I mean, I offered him an opportunity to come and coach at Live Oak, and that's what the movie's about. I mean, it's about this coming of age kids in high school. It's a feel good story. There's no salacious, teenager BS. It truly is a fun, exciting sports documentary. And if you're into lacrosse, I promise you, if you buy it and you watch it, you will love it.
Even just from the trailer that I've seen, it looks amazing. At least it's exactly what we need in the lacrosse community is more of this. And everybody loves an underdog story from starting from scratch and coming up and, trying to at least, maybe if you don't get to the championship, just trying to fight and get better every day, right? So I've even seen that in my own personal life with like my little lacrosse community myself, right?
Yeah. Which town are you in again?
I'm in Moncton, New Brunswick.
Okay, New Brunswick, fantastic. Well,
Yeah. So
I have been all over. I've been all over Canada playing box lacrosse with my kids. We've gone up there to Coquitlam, we've gone out to Toronto, and we've gone to Calgary. And like I said, this little rec team built into something like we're traveling to Canada and East Coast. And anyway, it's been a phenomenal run. I think that the movie, if you look at, like you mentioned, lacrosse movies, lacrosse documentaries, I just kind of Google searched and did a chat GPT. And over the last 20 years, there is a handful of lacrosse movies. My kids grew up with Crooked Arrows, which was a kind of a real drama type of movie. There's tons, and I said there's 8 or 9 really good documentaries about the history of the sport, like you mentioned. But there's never been anything like this, where we follow normal kids in a normal town in California. And I think that if I always tell people, if you're a documentary person, you got to watch it. If you love sports documentaries, you're going to love it. If you love lacrosse, you're going to think it wins an Oscar. It's a really, really cool feature film. We thought about doing episodic, where you like on Netflix, where you're watching it, let's say, you kind of binge watch and so forth. It has kind of an episodic feel. So we kind of started that way. And then we're like, no, this has just got to be a told story from the start to beginning. So, as I mentioned to you, our kids are a little tougher because we're a little public school. We had some Canadian blood going into these kids from lacrosse, and we go and play some of the upper type of money type schools, if you will. And that's kind of where you talk the underdog story. It's really fun. It's a good fun opportunity.
Well, I can tell you right now that I'm I'm originally from Ontario, and I'm by the Six Nations there, and my my brother-in-law is native, and like, I mean, all of his family and stuff all pick up a lacrosse stick from the time they're 3 years old. So even to be competing with those guys, you guys should be proud of yourselves, because these guys, it's not something they learn, it's something they're born into. So it's just on a completely different level there, I find.
Yeah, we've had some great opportunities to play with the natives. My son, because of our heritage, was able to play with the Haudenosaunee in the Heritage Cup. So he won a gold medal with the Heritage Cup as a depot. And it was just really, there's just the spirit. There's actually a documentary called The Spirit of the Game, but, that's following the box championships of the Haudenosaunee and the Iroquois. And I guess for me, there is something different about this sport, and I wanted to show that in the movie. And I think that we'll see that as we go along, the opportunities to give thanks to the sport, give thanks to the history of the sport, but also lift this sport up through community, because that's really what it's kind of like a love letter to my community. Honestly, it's like I just felt like everybody came together. There's a couple of as you kind of see some of the things in the movie. One of the kids is adopted out of drugs. His mom was a drug user, and he was adopted, and he picked up a stick, and the rest is history. These little kids that, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, of the 24 or so that have kind of made it to the varsity level in our high school, 12 of them are continuing on to play on at a college level. So it's a cool story. I'm glad I was able to tell it. I'm glad that you're having me on your podcast. We're doing a lot of media, so hopefully you see too much of my face over the internet and over all the different social channels. But I'm happy to be here, Jake, and it's just an amazing sport. That's all I can say. And I hope that the people out there enjoy the Mighty Oaks. The pre-sale comes on pretty soon. There'll be links out there, but you'll be able to buy it, rent it, and be in a situation where you can really grow the game by buying a movie. It's kind of cool.
No, it's amazing. And like, I want to go back to that point where you said, a lot of these kids are going on to play post-secondary and stuff like that. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of everyone's so focused when you put your kids in sports onto making the pros. Oh, you got to make them go pro, right? Especially being in Canada and watching the hockey scene here. I find with lacrosse, there's such a need for players that from all over the states, as it's growing so fast, that it's actually, I don't want to say it's an easy walk to get through by any means, but if you're a good player and you dedicate yourself, you have, I say, a solid chance of trying to go play on to the next level.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, you do watch the other sports, and a friend of mine said his son played for the MLL, and somebody asked him, not kind of a layperson, hey, can these lacrosse players make any money? He goes, oh, they can make millions. And then it's like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, they make about $20,000 or $50,000 a year, but usually the people that own the clubs have millions, and they want to hire them afterwards. So it's one of those things that I think that the game of lacrosse is a little bit different in terms of trying to go professional. I mean, right now we've got the PLL, you've got the NLL, you've got some other kind of semi-pro minor leagues and so forth. And the women's game, we haven't even brought that up, but the women's game is unreal right now. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, almost like how the WNBA kind of has taken off in the last couple of years. I've been a skeptic of the WNBA for 25 years, but I really enjoy watching the women's game. And as you know, the Olympics coming up in Los Angeles in 2028, the sixes format of lacrosse, to me, is a beautiful example of what this game can be. And I've already been on record as saying the Canadians are going to win the gold medal again. And I say it again for the first time in 2028. It just seems that the box experience inside the box, generating sixes with a 6 foot by 6 foot goal. I don't know how anybody's going to stop Jeff Teat, and with Dobson in goal and some of these other guys. I mean, we got some good players in America too, but I just can't see us beating Canada.
I mean, sixes is really interesting. I think there's lots of potential in sixes, but there's a lot of guys who really don't like sixes. They think we should be just playing field in
Right.
The Olympics. Like I said, I think there is potential, but there needs to be tweaks to that game, and I've been pretty
Yeah.
vocal about that myself. About this documentary for the first time, what would you describe as the heart of the Mighty Oaks?
The movie or the kids? Oh, it's you're gonna get embraced by the kids. The
Yeah.
couple of the stories that are in here are just pull at your heartstrings. But the toughness of these kids is just, it shows through in lacrosse. And at the same time, they're playing for each other because they've been playing together since they were young, you know? So to me, it's about the story, the community overreaching, helping these kids get through some challenges really does make a big difference. But I think for the most part, to answer specifically towards the Mighty Oaks, why I just, the story is everywhere in every community. It really is. We just told it on a film. You're going to love it.
I think by what the trailer shows me, it really like it looks really exciting, and I love these kind of things myself anyway. So having this in lacrosse is just that much better. So the film follows the 2024 season of this.
Yeah.
Is there a bunch of backstory? Like, do you have a bunch of footage from before that,
Tons,
or is it just kind of that whole season that you're following mainly?
Yeah. No, actually, it's interesting because I just happened to take video all the way through this whole journey of building up the program. So we have video pretty much from the beginning, and it does. It takes the backstory. It's telling a story through the kids' eyes, through my eyes, through the coach's eyes, through the community's eyes. Actually, you know. So I think for the most part, when we look at whether or not the film is definitely the 2024 season, and the last 25 minutes, you find yourself rooting for the Mighty Oaks.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're in a game, and you feel like you're going to, you know, the playoff run, the championship run, you're hoping and wishing, and it's an exciting finish. And I hesitate to give away the ending because that's really what's fun. But if you make it through the first half, the second part kind of goes through those stories, and the last 30, 40 minutes is just on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen.
No, awesome, man. So, like beyond the wins and losses, the film focused on resilience, friendship, and community. Were those extra things in the storylines planned, or did they just kind of like, did you guys just film and then it kind of just presented itself?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I find it so interesting because you have this idea of what the film's going to be, but in a documentary situation, you really just kind of have an outline of the story. And then the events kind of play themselves out. So to me, that's the part that is so intriguing about Brendan Hardy, who's the director. He is the one who is kind of in the background trying to tell the story. There was really no, set up or anything like that. It was just, we're going to tell a story. We're going to try to win a championship, and we're going to tell it the best we can. And I think it came out great on the film. By the way, I've seen it in the movie theater, and I've never seen Lacrosse on that big of a theater with perfect sound, and it was awesome. Most people will be watching probably on their iPad or on a plane somewhere or something like that. But if you get a chance to watch it in the theater, it rocks you to the bone. It's all high quality production, and with lots of audio overrides, and the editing is unreal. It's very, as you can see from the trailer, it's very professionally done.
Oh no, it looks fantastic. So have you guys already had the premiere then, or is that something you're still going to do closer to the time that it comes up?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how the film business works, which I didn't know anything about. But there's these film festivals all over the place. I mean, every single town has a film festival. Well, some towns, some film festivals, you can't enter it if you've already had a premiere. So we'd made the choice, hey, we have a film festival locally. Let's try to enter into that one. It's called the Poppy Jasper International Film Festival. We had a screening. They don't call it a premiere. We had a screening. Okay, we had 225 screaming fans. It was awesome. And everybody loved it. We ended up winning the best documentary for the Poppy Jasper International Film Festival. So that to me was pretty special. But just the hype, it was like you were watching a movie in at a sports bar or something. It was really, really fun.
Have you guys entered it in any, or have you even thought about entering in any other film festivals? Because I mean, I think this has
Yeah,
quite the potential.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting, Jake. I maybe we're leaving that
Yeah.
open. The
Okay.
hard part is that it's just me. I'm like out
Yeah.
here in Southern California, and I to me, I always think to myself, okay, how much bandwidth do I have? I actually have a regular job too, so this is just something I've been doing on the side for
Yeah.
fun. And I truly believe that the most important thing is getting the word out. If it's the way that things have changed now, or the way people don't go to the movies anymore, they download, they watch on their devices. I don't care where they watch it. Just buy it, watch it, tweet it out, tell everybody you love it, and hopefully we'll get a ton of people that can enjoy the sport, and maybe we'll get a few new fans like yourself.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Now, is this something you're hoping to kind of do again with the same kind of team? Is this going to become a regular series, or is this just like a one and done kind of thing?
Oh boy, Jake, that's the question of the day, man. I'll tell you, I worked on it for 7 years.
Yeah.
So if you know anything about like a PhD or your marathon, probably not the best question to ask after somebody
Okay.
runs a marathon or does their PhD. I had a great time doing it. It was awesome. I'm sure there'll be other inspirations that I have. As of right now, I'm promoting this thing, the Mighty
Yeah.
Oaks.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. It's exciting to see this stuff. So that's great. So going from having no filmmaking experience to producing a professional level documentary that's releasing on Amazon, how does that process work exactly?
I don't know how much time you have, but it's a
Just a
crazy,
quick summary
crazy.
is fine. Like,
Okay, well, I tell you, the crazy part about the production of it is there's so many things you don't even know about. You've got
yep,
to get clearances, you've got
yep,
to get legal, you got to get errors and omissions. So there's a lot of hurdles, and then you try to sell it.
yep,
I hired an executive producer's agent, and he marketed it out to about 40 different studios, and there's just a lot of content out there. And luckily, we got picked up by Freestyle Media. Which is a Byron Allen company, and they are very excited about promoting it and really going out. And freestyle has been around for, I don't know, 20, 25 years promoting independent filmmakers. This is really hard to do. It's a shoestring, and my shoestrings might be a little bit bigger than most, but at
yeah,
the same time, I truly believe that if you really want to do something, there's a way to do it. It's especially with today's technology and your cameras and your film and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, from start to finish, it took 7 years.
okay.
And this process here at the end, we're trying to push this football over the line here at the end, and doing a lot of media, like I said, and trying to get the word out.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I completely understand. And that's kind of why I wanted to ask you about this stuff because, there's a lot of people who have a lot of ideas and just don't know how to go and make them a reality. And now with technology, I find it's a little bit easier, but there's still so many red tape, permits, all that stuff you were talking about. So like, was there ever a time in this project that you thought that maybe this wasn't going to happen or, you kind of had to, because I even have doubts about my own content, right? So I know how it is. Like,
Oh God. Yes, 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 yes. I think I quit 3 times. Um, and I say that jokingly. I think I did. Like we had one idea that was going one way, and we kind of went the different way, and then we kind of jumped back into it. And then what what really happened was every time I showed something to people, like whether it be the trailer or maybe some raw footage or kind of our ideas, I always asked people like, do you think this is going to work? Like, please tell me now. I don't have to do this. I mean, I don't need it. But
yeah,
everybody was really intrigued by it. Even the people that don't know anything about lacrosse. I tried to get a lot of people that didn't know anything about lacrosse, that didn't even know my kids, to watch it, to see if there was some, oh, this is boring, oh, this sucks, or whatever it might be. But as you know, and this game is awesome, and the kids are awesome, and the story tells itself. But yeah, I think I quit at least 3 times, and there's tons of doubts. My wife still loves me barely. We've been married for 25 years, but it's been a project that she rolls her eyes at many, many times. So
Yeah, the wives don't have quite as much passion for it, but they give support for sure, man. They get it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you say 7 years it took you, basically you've been working on this, but how long did it actually take you to from kind of starting the documentary to actually, completing it, final cut kind of deal?
yeah, I think that's probably, it's interesting. I think we have 100 and no, sorry, we have 600 hours of film. And the editor told me it takes about 6 days to do 6 minutes.
Okay,
So
well,
it's a lot of this to this. And I'm always I was trying to tell the director, hey, this is a little bit slow here. This is a little bit slow. He's like, no, we need that because of this, this, and this. And to me, I'm always like, in today's world, like if the Instagram reel is longer than 33 seconds, people's attention span ain't there, right?
yeah.
So what I guess to me is it probably took from the end of filming, which would have been somewhere around May of 2024, and now we're in what? December 2025. So you're looking at probably 12 months before it
Okay.
was really done.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, definitely lots of time, lots of manpower as well, I'm sure. And
Yes.
so how'd
Lots
you
of
get
people
up?
to thank.
Yeah, absolutely. But how'd you get set up with partnering with Brandon Hardy? And because he has such a background in action sports storytelling,
Yeah.
what a great guy to bring
He's
on.
he he's the best. I mean, I can't say enough about Brendan. How did that happen? It was just happenstance. Is that when I was trying to find the coach, I was like, okay, maybe I can get like a Netflix special, and like maybe I can get Miles Jones. And so I was like, who do I know at Netflix? So I just typed it into LinkedIn, and a friend of mine from elementary school worked
Okay.
on Everybody Loves Raymond. So I just reached out to her. I'm like, do you know anybody that could do a documentary for Netflix? And she's like, I think I do. And that's how we met. And he's from New Hampshire originally, lives in Southern California now. But he's going to be doing the Olympics for NBC. He's doing the skiing Olympics for NBC. This guy is amazing. And he came to our little hometown because he loved the story. And he's done other full features, but this is his own. This is the first time he's ever done it on his own production. So really, he's the greatest guy. He's a really cool dude to work with. Um, all the time we worked together over the last 3 or 4 years, it's always been his ideas and my drive and enthusiasm.
Yeah. No, I mean everything I've seen, I looked him up, and I mean everything I've seen, he's worked on some pretty big stuff. So,
Big
that
stuff.
just gives great credibility to this. And, with Lacrosse coming in, hopefully him sharing it will also, because all it has
Yeah.
to do is be seen, right? In my opinion,
Yeah,
anyway.
and it's interesting. They always have these. Lacrosse is such a small community.
Yep.
There was a documentary called War on the Floor, which was about the SEALs, San Diego
Yep.
SEALs, and J. Albert and Brendan know each other, and so they didn't know each other that they were doing lacrosse documentaries basically parallel to each other. So just small community. Everybody's willing to help, but it's been a blast. I'm so excited.
Okay, so just tell us some of the biggest challenges you ran into. Like I know you talked about the red tape or all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but creatively, logistically, what kind of were your biggest hurdles to get by?
I'm going to answer that question. Start with this one. The biggest hurdle was getting it into the schools.
Okay.
So in California, the teachers union basically said, we're not going to add a sport unless you eliminate a sport. Can you imagine being an athletic director saying, okay, we're going to eliminate a sport so we can get lacrosse on there?
Yeah.
So we're like, no, we're not going to do it that way. So that was really the biggest hurdle. Production wise and putting it all together. And I think just finding people that would work for pennies. I say that
Okay, yeah.
we have
Yeah.
a lot of, I've got Amy Gunther who, she's down the street neighbor, but she studied film at MTSU. She was one of our great film production people. Clay Delaney, he's an awesome film guy and he's part of the production crew. So to ask these guys to work kind of for nothing.
Yeah.
We paid them a little bit, but just
Yeah.
for the passion of the game, that was probably the biggest hurdle. Is you want this huge production thing, but we don't have the cash.
Yeah.
So that was the other hard part. Is that anything you do, if you have money, you can make it something amazing, right? Well, we had some money, but not crazy amounts of money, and even the people that we sold this idea to, they loved it, but they weren't willing to put the money behind the production value. So that's probably the biggest hurdle is money.
So is that something that when you're going to these places to get like to pitch the idea, and you don't have to get into specific numbers or anything like that, but is that something they look at the project and they kind of give you an advancement or like a section pay off as the project gets finished, or is it something that you have to finish, have done, and then sell off to Amazon Prime?
Great question. A little bit of everything, what you said. So we made a sizzle reel, which was about a 12-minute kind of documentary to show what we wanted to do, almost like a pilot.
Yep.
And that's where we took a one-pager. We tried to sell it to the Lacrosse Network. We tried to sell it to the PLL. We tried to sell it to a couple other places. And like I said, everybody loved it. They loved the idea, but the dollars weren't behind it. So this is why it took a little longer, because that's when I finally said, okay, I'm going to be an executive producer in my life, and I'm going to fund this. It needs to be told. The story needs to be told. And I just decided to bootstrap it myself. And but that's exactly what happened. So you're out trying to sell. Everybody loves it, but nobody wants to pay for it. So independent producers and independent directors and independent distributors, which is kind of what we are, it's just a tough business. I think somebody said one time that less than 2% of all documentaries make their money back. So most of them are passion projects. So all of you guys go out there and buy the movie so I can make my money back.
No, absolutely. I mean, we need to do that. So, support, and I'll definitely pick it up myself because first off, I love it. It looks great, amazing.
Thanks, Jake.
But also just to support the lacrosse community and people like you. We need more people like you that are out there making content, getting the eyes on it. Communities like yours as well that embrace it. Because even if you look at a professional level, like the Bandits, they have the biggest crowds for a reason, and that's because the community embraces it, and that's their identity, right?
Yeah, and that's it. And that's what I mean. If I can just go back to that, I mean, this is really what is the most important thing to remember. What I did and what we did in Morgan Hill is being done all over the country. People are starting up programs. I didn't know anything about lacrosse. I was going to YouTube how to practice, how to throw. There's so much information with US Lacrosse, USA Lacrosse. And so what I guess I'm trying to say is it's also a movie that should be motivational to all the people who didn't make a movie about it, to all those people who are out there grinding and picking up goals. And I remember going on Craigslist and getting sticks and I didn't know what I was doing. It was just, I'm just going to do it, and just start asking people for help. And communities all over Canada, all over the United States, there are so many people like me and Morgan Hill community that can do the same thing. And I hope that they take this and get inspiration to go out and whatever sport it is. Hopefully it's lacrosse, but I'm excited to see if it does take off that way.
And I do like that point too, is a lot of people just see the end product and they don't see all the frustration and all the sleepless nights and all the effort that gets put in. And then they just see the product and they think, oh, it's easy. It's not easy, but that's the people who make it. Those are the people. So anybody who's watching, make sure, if you're feeling frustrated, it's not just you. It's everybody goes through this. Nobody knows what they're doing. And we're all just trying to figure it out and put the best content out we can, right?
That's it. I chose the background. I don't know if everybody can see out there, but my son's, he's out there practicing right now. I still don't know anything about the game. I mean, I can watch it and love it and understand, but I got to get him professional coaching just so that he can continue to grow in his availability. So it's an amazing point. Like you mentioned, it's very difficult, but the end game, and I'm surprised I haven't teared up in this interview, because it seems like every time I talk about this film and the people in it, it makes me emotional, because all of the blood and the sweat and the tears and just the fun that we had building this thing from scratch, it's pretty special.
No, absolutely, man. And so when did you officially know it was going to be released on Amazon?
Um, well, let's see. I think that was about 3 months ago. About 3 months ago, we got the notice that Freestyle was picking us up, and they were going to, basically distribute it amongst all their partners. And I mean, it's going to be everywhere. If you want to go out and buy a DVD, you can do that too. I think honestly, because I've got like kids that do a lot of travel lacrosse, this would be a great movie on a plane. So,
Yep.
you're coming back from a lacrosse tournament, you want to kill 2 hours. By the way, the movie's not 2 hours; it's an hour
Yeah.
and 43 minutes.
Yeah.
But but it's definitely worthwhile of a watch. Anyway, it's one of those things that over time, if you look at movies and documentaries that make a difference, in my life, there's a handful. I like to watch, a lot of documentaries, but the sports documentaries that I remember, like The Last Dance, I've watched that almost every year. This is not anywhere close to that Michael Jordan like, but on a smaller scale, it's got a lot of human interest stories. We've got some really, really cool people that we're telling stories about in the lacrosse community in Northern California.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I think you're undercutting yourself a little bit because as much as I love The Last Dance too. I think it was great. It showed the one of the best NBA franchises or dynasties of all time. But I could tell you, nobody likes an underdog story,
Yeah,
better than anything else, right? So
yeah.
to watch kids go from having no experience, and I seen this last year helping coach my own son's team, to go from seeing a kid that has no experience, that can't cradle the ball, to be able to go down the field or the box and score and
Oh,
see the look on
awesome.
his face and go get in there and just have a little bit of contact. It's just there's nothing better than watch a kid develop and get to their goals. So
Jake, I got it. There's a spot in the movie what you're describing,
yeah,
and I'm probably going to tear up talking about it. But he was on our team for 4 years.
yeah,
He was that kind of kid. He was a quiet, confident, fun, exciting kid, and he scored in a game. And when we were doing the editing and everything, I told Brendan, I go, "That's the first time he's ever scored." He goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, that's why everybody
yeah,
was so excited for him."
yeah.
Because 4 years of, and you can feel it in the movie. You can feel everybody so excited for him. So those types of events, and I'm going to leave you with this one too, Jake. My Canadian friend Gary Rosiski, he told me, he said the best part about lacrosse. He goes, "Watch," and he rolls the ball out about 20 yards, and he goes, "Go get it," to some of the kids. He goes, "It takes no talent to go and pick up a ground ball, and
Yep.
we need you."
Yep.
You think about any other youth sport, if you're not very good at it, like baseball, you sit on the bench, you get one at bat, you get your treat tickets, and you go out in the outfield too. No, if you're not very good at lacrosse, we still need you. Go get the
Yep.
ball, go get the ball, get it on the ground, and throw it to one of the good players. That
Yeah.
kids love it. So that's
Yeah.
the moral of that story. And to watch those underdogs grow and develop, it's special. It really is special.
Well, really, I
It's
find that most
sports.
kids, yeah, absolutely. But I find most of these kids are athletic anyway, naturally athletic. And
Yeah, of course.
when they come in though, even if they're not like, let's say they're not the greatest at shooting, they usually can defend pretty good or hit pretty good or,
Exactly.
uh, make a good goaltender or something. So there's lots of
Yeah.
different ways. And ground
Yeah.
balls, loose ball pickup, I think is an underrated stat in this sport that is super
Yeah.
important to win
Oh,
championships.
yeah. And funny you say that about goalie. There's a scene in the movie. Sorry, I keep going back to the movie in the
No, it's
Mighty
fine.
Oaks.
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I was a JV coach, and I got a little crazy. I was like running these guys and trying to get them in shape first. And I'm like, about
Yeah.
3 days later, I'm like, okay, I think I'm running them too much. This is JV. I probably should be a little easier on them. And I went up to this one kid. I could tell he did not like to run. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Kyle, you don't like to run, do you? He goes, "No, coach." I'm like, "You want to try goalie?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." 3-year starter on varsity. I mean,
Yeah.
he went from I don't want to run to, oh, I can be goalie.
Yeah.
And you got to have a little, you have to have a little bit of a loose nut in your brain to
Yeah.
be a goalie in lacrosse.
Yeah, goalies are always different guys, man. Like that's not saying
That's
it's a
right.
bad thing, but you definitely can't be
That's
like a
right.
normal guy and being a goalie. Like there has to be something a little bit loose in there. But the thing about the goalie is you get a lot of the glory, right? When you make those big
That's right.
saves, you're a big part of the
That's
team and
right.
all that kind of stuff. So okay, so what do you hope audiences, especially like young athletes or parents, take away from this story?
Oh boy, that you can do whatever you want. I mean, this is a feel good story to develop into the person that you want to be. Sports is one of those things that it demands your attention, it demands your drive, it demands your very best. There's very few things in this world that are like that. So I think that the movie shows that you want to be the best, whatever you're doing.
No, absolutely. And that's why I think a lot of you hear former athletes, they always say it like they wish they would have, if they could go back and tell themselves anything, it would be, give yourself 110% every time you're on that field because once it's gone, as you get
Yeah,
older.
yeah. And then, part of the movie we have Trevor Baptiste in the movie,
Yep.
and Trevor comes to practice, and he's telling the guys what you just said. Like, I'm Team USA, I'm
Yep.
SEALs, I'm the Atlas, I've been won national championships, but playing for your boys, that's what it's all about.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard other pro athletes say that the best time they ever had playing their sport, whether it be hockey, lacrosse, football, is high school. High school that,
Yeah,
playing with your guys you rode bikes with growing up and really
yeah,
winning those championships. There's nothing really better than that. And even these pros winning at this high elite level will still say their favorite moments were when they were in high school playing.
yeah. The glory days.
That's right, right? Absolutely.
That's right.
So for anyone listening who might be like looking into trying to do their own sports documentary, what advice would you give them from starting out that you could have learned from yourself?
I think you just document everything. That was the one piece of advice that they kept on telling me. Just record it. You never know. Like some of the moments that we have are just me running the camera. So if you're going to start a documentary or you're going to start filming, something that's special that you're going to be able to do, film everything. Everything. It's fun to just capture those moments for the kid from the whatever it might be. You never know when it's going to happen. That's the hard part.
Yep. No, absolutely. So what it's what is it? December 5th for the release date? Is that the correct
December
release date?
9th. December 9th.
December 9th.
December
Okay,
9th.
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So we'll definitely mark that on
Yep.
our calendars.
Thank
Um,
you.
and you can watch it. You'll be able to watch it Amazon Prime, obviously. But is there anywhere else that you
Amazon
would?
Prime, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, all the streamers, the Fubu's, oh gosh, what's the other one? All the different ones everybody watches on Google
Yeah.
TV,
Okay.
Google Play, everything but Netflix. How does that sound?
Okay. Sounds good, man. No, that's perfect. I mean, you never know what'll happen, and there's a big film festival in Toronto called the Toronto Film Festival. I'm sure you've heard of it. I would love to see this get entered in there because I think it could definitely.
Oh,
I
that'd be
mean,
great.
it's such a great. It really is such a great documentary from what I've seen anyway
Thank
so
you.
far. And so, what about some of
Thank
these
you.
kids? Like, without spoiling anything, like, I know you mentioned before, like, I think it's about 12 or 13 of them have gone on to
Yeah.
play higher levels. Um, you know, when did this documentary kind of give them the opportunity to get to that next level with all the connections that were made?
No.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
interesting because I think that the world hasn't seen the California lacrosse, so
Yeah.
we're still a secret out here. But at the same time, when you look towards the future and you look at what's going to happen with all of these kids, I think our goal was literally just to win a high school championship, but
Yeah.
became something bigger when these kids decided to go on and play at the next level. They loved it. They loved the competition. They realized that they were pretty good at it. Now, we didn't have anybody go D1, okay?
Okay.
But at the same time, we had some kids really get the most out of what they were given.
Yeah, I mean those D1 spots are so hard to get, and there's nothing with Division Two, Division Three, like lacrosse, especially like I said, education, is such an important thing. And these guys are the building blocks. These guys are the foundation. So now they've set the program up with your help, obviously, and they've done the work. Now the next generation can come on and try to do the next thing, right?
Yeah. And you're starting there. Like, I love the title, Lacks Anything. It's like go from documentaries to the NLL to you know, to the PLL, to NCAA, and there's so much out there, and it's just a great game to celebrate. And you know, someday you might have the guy that collects all the cards. Like I told you, I'm a lacrosse card collector.
Yep.
I've gotten way into that. I've gotten into collecting old sticks, you know, the old traditional sticks. It's overwhelmed me.
Yeah, the culture in this game is amazing, and I mean, like the cards. I know I have in my Discord. I have a bunch of guys who are really into cards. We have a whole section in there, and even some of the players I know are into these cards as well. Like some of the pros, like Nick Rose is one an example, right?
Yes,
so and
yes.
yeah. So anyway, okay, man. Well,
Thanks
I
so
really
much,
appreciate
Jake.
you. Yeah, I really appreciate you being here. I'm gonna pump this out as much as I can for you. And
Thank
it's
you
guys
so
like
much.
you. It's guys like you who are growing the sport, and it's we need more of you guys. So I appreciate it and everything you do for the
Jake.
lacrosse
And
community.
listen, there's so many people that I can thank, but ultimately it's the lacrosse community that's so tight. And let's support this thing. Let's grow it. Let's tweet it out there. Let's get other people to watch it that don't know about lacrosse. And thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate talking to you, and good luck on your exciting podcast. And I'm glad I could be a guest for you, and hopefully people will go out and buy the movie.
Absolutely, man. I'll do my best. So
Thanks
yeah,
so
absolutely.
much. All right.
Thank you very much, man. I'll talk
We'll
to you
talk
later.
to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
A very exciting episode. Big guest again on, I love that these guys are coming on the show to get their stuff out. I love helping people. I love, pushing out this lacrosse content, anything that's going to help grow this game. And we need more people like Brad that are willing to put their time and their investment into this game. I pray that this guy makes his money back, only because it'll give him incentive to, make more projects and stuff. And I asked him in the interview, is this going to be your last project? And he's like, it's kind of like asking a marathon runner after they just ran a marathon, right? So give him some time. He said it was a 7-year project, but I have a funny feeling we'll be seeing more out of Brad, whether that be out of production wise or even just helping the lacrosse community. I can guarantee you that the guy is a fantastic guy, fantastic dad, super involved, but not in, a bad way at all. And he just wants the best for his kids, just like all of us dads do. So shout out to him for being just a great dad, a great person, and great for the lacrosse community. And, as well, we went over the top goalies in the league. We'll see what happens with the Calgary situation. We'll see what happens with Rochester, kind of in the same sense. And we'll see what happens this year. There's always at least a couple of surprises. We don't know what trades are coming down the pipeline. There's a lot of young guys sitting kind of second fiddle to some of these big names that could be used on other teams, in my opinion. But I understand there's also look at the Kells situation down in Vegas, right? So you don't want to rush a goalie in. So with that being said, and then we went to an in-depth deep dive through each of like the last season's rosters and points and their records and all that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Again, I don't consider it work. I learned a lot from doing this myself. And that's what the thing is I kind of just show you guys what I'm learning, right? So when I'm, I might have an opinion, and now that I read all this, my opinion might have changed a little bit, right? And I'm still not even done researching. I'll research more. I'll reread the notes, all that stuff. But, that's kind of how I base my opinions a lot of times, is on numbers. And then I go and watch some highlights and live games that I've watched and stuff. But being a newer fan, you kind of have to go based on numbers. And this is the best way you can do it, in my opinion, is to gain your knowledge and also your credibility on, to show that you're basing your opinion off something and not just because I think so, right? And there is the eye test. Don't get me wrong. The eye test is a big thing in sports. So that is also, there's always an argument to be made for that. And I can understand that. And that's why I always preference that when I say stuff like, hey, this is what I'm looking at, but if somebody comes at me and says, this guy is amazing, if you see him live or you see his highlights, like, then I go watch them. So I do a lot of research into that, and a lot of, but again, it's fun for me. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying learning and, increase my knowledge, and I will continue to do it. So as always, if you haven't, obviously go follow the socials, the Anything Lacrosse Show on most platforms, on TikTok, my OG, just anything lacrosse, and, keep building the community, join the Discord. We got some amazing conversations in there. We got some really cool things going on. And as always, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me yap. This has been a long podcast again. I don't know if you guys like this long form content. It seems like you like the deep dives. Please let me know. And I'll continue to do everything I can. Again, I try to read I do read all my comments. I try to comment. If anybody specifically asks for something, I try to add it to a video. So again, I've got a ton of ideas that I haven't used yet. I've got tons of content, and there's always seems to be a story or two that I can dig my research, my little nose into every week, and I find, these things. So again, if there's anything that you guys want to know, join the Discord, all that kind of stuff. As well as, like I said, we'll see. I've got some big stuff coming, more stuff coming as always. I'm always building and stuff like that, always trying to make the community better. So, and I will keep bringing content and trying to bring eyes to this sport. So with all that being said, my name is Jake McDonald. I am Anything Lacrosse, and this is the game that never sits still. Thanks for being here, guys. I love you. I love the community, and just keep adding your people in, and let's just make this game the greatest game. It is the greatest game. So